Hey guys, it's What the Flick, our discussion of The Leftovers, episode 7, only 3 remaining. Solace for Tired Feet, the name of this episode, which I guess could reference Scott Glenn, perhaps, or the dog.
It seems like it's like an ad pitch, but for what, I don't know.
Yeah, or something else. Anyway, take a look at the clip. We'll come back and have a discussion.
I thought you weren't coming home tonight.
What's up?
Just ask him.
What happened?
What did Grandpa do?
Why?
Did he hurt anyone?
Why are you asking?
Did he?
Yeah.
And that's why he's in that hospital?
Yes.
Well, he's not anymore.
Regarding Amy, who's in that conversation, there was a moment, a later conversation then, when she talked about, did Justin Theroux remember
What happened? The dog.
with the dog? And you had that moment where you're like, oh, they fooled around. Like, oh, like what is she going to, what horrible thing is she going to say? And I was so relieved.
Well,
when
it's still a possibility.
It is still, and they clearly want us to be thinking about that. He is handling it basically like a grown-up. One of the few things he's handling fully like a grown-up.
You know the best example of that?
What?
There was the scene in the kitchen where, for whatever reason, they decided that now that she's staying with him, she left all of her bras at home or whatever. And like they keep going to her and then to his face, and I kept watching his eyes, and they never dipped down. He kept staring straight ahead.
He's a grown-up. He's a grown-up.
Yeah,
he's acting like a parent. God bless him. But it was. But I loved that line of just like she asked the question, and he's like, "Amy, you like being here?" It was a great mystery, because we love having you. Okay? Good. Yeah.
They haven't really explained that either.
No,
Why is she
we don't know
there?
her.
Yeah, who knows what's happening at her house or who's left at her house, you know. I think that what's going to be interesting about this episode is I think we're seeing the transition now of what does an unmedicated Kevin look like? You know, because clearly he has been taking an entire pharmacopoeia to just get through the day, and so now he's ready to move past that, either because of the blackouts or because of, you know, Nora or whatever, but yeah, maybe now the voices come, who knows?
So the blackouts, what do you think happened there? Like, he's listening to the scanners, they're looking for his dad, he falls asleep and he wakes up in his sweatpants on the floor of his room like always, and he got a dog after having this dream of the dog in a mailbox.
Right.
Unless it wasn't fully a dream. Some of it may have happened because he's got a dog tied up in the back.
And a bite on his hand.
And a bite on his hand, and Amy telling him a story of what happened. What happened? What do we...
I don't know.
A lot of mailboxes in this episode.
The show makes me not want to guess what happens anymore because I don't trust it to tell me things that I want to know. Yes. And it's my problem with the show. I mean, I'm now at the point now where I do crossword puzzles while I watch this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I look up and I go, okay, that's going on now.
I think it's.
And I look up. Okay, that's going on now.
I think it's going to reveal some things, maybe not everything, but
the Wayne thing got more interesting in the last episode.
Well, yeah, that was a twist I didn't particularly see coming.
Yeah, exactly. That thing was kind of like, okay, let's find out more about this.
Only predicted that when he knocked on the door. I'm like, it's another Tom with another Asian, with another pregnant Asian girl.
That was a good reveal. That was a good reveal. So that thing's.
Yeah.
But once again, though, I still say, where is this headed, and why is it headed in that direction? I want more.
Yeah, with the dream, I mean, obviously the dream is interesting, and they certainly provide enough avenues for you to try to interpret the imagery, and obviously you have the cross imagery that you have the mailbox on both sides, the father and the stepson. You have the injury to the hand, father and the stepson.
Oh yeah, right.
And all of that. You have all these things that are
the dream.
Yeah, exactly. You have all these things crossing over, but my frustration, I think, is similar to yours. I would enjoy that much more if I had faith that if I was really clever and smart about it, I could figure out what's going on. But from everything that I've heard about Lost, no, they don't want you to do that. I don't want to just be a passive participant.
I think you're being, first
so
of all,
when Scott Glenn starts talking about something that happened 3 years ago, that's fine, but you're not going to find out whatever happened 3 years ago.
I think
that's just based on a novel, though. Actually, gives me the hope that there is going to be some resolution.
Well, what happened 3 years ago? He's just talking about the vanishing. I think.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
It's just that the show treats it as like a revelation, like an important moment in terms of learning something, and not psychologically about what the characters are doing, but like, so I think that the show sends mixed messages.
I will admit to being, I guess, a little frustrated about this episode because I thought episodes 5 and 6 broadened it out significantly, especially when we saw, as I said last time, when we saw Nora go to New York, and like, I thought that was great.
That's a good episode.
Yeah. And I thought we were getting just a bigger picture, which would include some answers. And then, and now it got sort of narrow again back to its.
I kind of feel like this episode is sort of just priming the pump for what the rest of the season is going to be.
Yeah,
going to bring us into the whole idea of now Kevin's going to be hearing the voices, whatever they are. We learned that Matt is now spearheading some sort of anti-GR campaign with the wheat pasting and the posters and stuff.
And the GRs are up to, like, they're far less passive than they appeared to be. Like, they have a plan. They have some action that they're apparently going to take. They're not just. They don't just walk around and tell you.
Well, now they're rallying.
Yeah, and they're buying a they making a move for something.
Well, it's interesting that as we see, like, we know something's going to be happening. At that moment, we lose our one speaking person in there, Liv Tyler.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have her anymore, so it's going to be interesting to see, will we get more information, or is it going to be from all outsiders' eyes?
Great line from Kevin to Matt when he starts, quoting biblical verse. Matt, fuck you.
I liked Nora with the hose.
Nora with the hose. Look, that's that is a very satisfying television couple. Like,
It is.
Yeah,
It is. I
very
will say that.
satisfying. A believable couple. They would find each other. They would, there was.
So
they have baggage, but it's matching baggage.
They have matching baggage.
And so now what we deserve as viewers is maybe them talking about what's going on in their lives and hashing things out amongst themselves. That couple should have conversations that we should be privy to, that are interesting and lead us places.
When she asked him, when her arm's around him and he wakes up and she says, like, what are you thinking, or, are you okay, or what's on your mind? And I was really praying. I was like, don't say nothing. Like, this is the person you're supposed to talk to.
Exactly.
And I think we're building toward that.
And he didn't really. No, I mean, he didn't. We didn't get a full, but he didn't shut her down. He literally rolled over, opened up to her, and they kind of laughed about how weird this is. Like, you get the feeling they could go have pancakes and have a real conversation.
I think their comfort level with each other is going to increase, and I think that she is going to be the person that he has, and I think hopefully that we'll get to see them too.
Really fast, I forget if it was your point or your point, but about how good the New York episode was, that they went out there and you saw that the GRs, again, are not a small thing. They apparently were everywhere. The problem that I'm having with, and I understand that there's just different philosophies of how you address a show like this, is similar to what I didn't like what happened with World War Z, where they had this interesting source material of stories that were happening all over the world, an interesting world, and they chose to focus entirely on one family, which can produce a more personal, intimate, like, take on what's going on. But if the world is inherently interesting enough to merit multiple storylines, then that's what we want to see. And so the New York was a good part of that.
Yeah.
And we do have a little bit of it now in Gary, Indiana, and all that. We have the kids off doing their weird suicidal refrigerator cult stuff. But I don't know that, like, the kids don't really seem to be progressing towards anything. Like, that storyline doesn't seem like it's going to have a big payoff.
I kind of feel like, though, it's hard to tell a global story and then just hop around the globe without it suddenly becoming like an anthology series, or like or the Purge movies, where it's like, here's this thing that happens, and then here's a little bit. I like the idea of having it. I've said on the show before, when you're working in a small town, you know who the government is, you know who the cops are, you know who the media is. Like, all these things are very concentrated and relatable, and you can understand them all. I like that there are hints of, I like the New York stuff. I like that Tom's travels, so you get to see, like, Lubbock and Gary, Indiana, like different random places. I don't think the show is missing out by not giving you a global scale, because I don't think you can take in a global scale on a TV show without it becoming a random mix of.
But on a global scale, you make a good point about Game of Thrones. The Wire gave you different aspects of a city, like, from different strata. I mean, like, while still connecting everything. I mean, this show just has to kind of, like, let you know that when it goes to a different like city, that there's a purpose to it, that it's interesting, that you're getting more information. I mean, when we had that one that scene at the end of that one episode where you saw the facility with the bodies and stuff like that. You just it seemed to think, well, we're getting more about that. We don't get more
I
about
think they're
that.
hinting at a grander conspiracy. The woman who pretended to be Nora at the conference, the fact that the
way the bodies are disposed of.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. The whole idea that like all this data is just kind of going nowhere. The woman said like it's just being destroyed in wherever it was that they're doing it.
I think we were headed to all of that. But then we got in this last episode, which had its moments certainly, but like this felt like the first.
They did pull it back in.
This felt insular
Yes.
again, which I thought was whatever. I found frustrating. And then there was like if Scott Glenn is out on the loose, and I guess we're supposed to believe that the mayor was involved with him, right? They're romantically involved, and okay, they don't talk anymore, but she he gets the son shows up, and he's like, is he in there? She's like, no, and then she's like, he's coming to see you, and shuts the door. Like, she's not, A, she's the mayor, B, she's his former lover.
Yeah.
You're just shutting it, like, you don't care at all? Like, it
didn't make sense to me.
It didn't make sense. It was a TV moment that was not.
I bought that. I kind of felt the idea of like she knew how things ended more than Kevin does, and she knows that whatever his agenda outside of the hospital is not about her, because whatever they had is done. And it's it's not like, oh my God, he's coming to get me. It's like no, it's not me. He's got other fish to fry.
I liked the grandfather's moments with Jill. I did like their scene together. He's like, when did you called him? When, and he was like, yeah, good for you. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you were kind to me, but...
you did the right thing.
And what's with the dog, though? What's he doing with the dog?
It's a vicious dog.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's supposed to represent something, obviously. I mean, there's been a thread of dogs throughout the entire
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Right.
does
The
feel like
idea
that's
being that
leading
the
towards
dogs are
something.
the first wave of what's going to eventually happen to humanity, that everybody's going to lose their shit because of this thing that happened, because of the unnaturalness of it. And so, I don't know, maybe the idea as well, if I can calm down this one dog, then maybe there's hope for humanity. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that the father did come in and he mentioned the deer damage to the kitchen, like implying that maybe he understands something about the animal element of their insanity. Now we have a little bit more information over the past few episodes about the possible government, like their willingness to come in and just clear out these cults.
Right.
So we saw the woman get stoned, and it seemed like it could be just locals who, for some reason, all wore all black and everything. It could be the government, or it could possibly be the GRs themselves. And now they're much more active. They seem to be using her death in a way.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, they're responding to the way that other people are using their death, because they took the signs that Matt created that said save them and put don't on them. Yeah. So they're in a way responding to somebody else using that. I mean, I'm not going to rule out the possibility that they did it, but I think that's what we're seeing them do specifically in this episode is more a response to a response than something they created out of a martyrdom that they've created.
I don't know, when between the woman who was killed and Ann Dowd, they had that moment and the nod, which I didn't take to mean anything at the time, but now in hindsight seems like it might have been, you're incredibly loyal and your son was killed in Afghanistan, you've committed yourself to this, and if this is part of the cause, hey, you're a sacrificial lamb, and
right.
She seemed into it.
Perhaps even sadder than her reaction as it was happening.
Yeah, when she wussed out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
What a loser. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though. It is one of those things where
for it.
It does legitimately seem like she was taken by surprise and captured, and this thing happened. So if she was, I don't know for whose benefit then she was acting frightened and panicked.
Well, but when they tied her to the tree, like she seemed very calm, like she wasn't losing her shit.
Also, maybe her
But
thing.
that's a GR style, though.
Maybe it was. Maybe
not
the
to
thing was,
respond.
we're going to tie you to a tree and use you as an example, and then we'll come get you. But then they killed her.
When you join GR, it's like you may be kidnapped and used as an example.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
this is that duct tape to a tree thing.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, I didn't say anything about stoning. Yeah, there was no stoning in the contract.
Rest.
So yeah, no, it's possible that it could be them, or it could be
leaning that
ATFEC, or
way.
it could be whatever.
I think it was them.
A lot to resolve in 3 episodes, to say nothing of another 10 episodes. A lot of crossword puzzles for Robert to do. If there's a season 2. Imagine the crossword work that you're going to get
I hope
done.
we get a season 2, and I will be surprised if everything that we want to know is resolved in 3
I'll take
episodes.
it. But you're being too tough on Lost. You're taking.
I'm just saying what I've heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's also, but it was a remarkable show, and they answered a lot of questions. And it's a John Iadarola type show, especially with the ability to watch it sequentially now without taking the incredibly annoying breaks that ABC put.
I can imagine.
All right, so we'll be back next week with episode 8 of The Leftovers. Thanks, everybody.